section 2, and then we're going to move on to section 3.
You got 5 more slides, is that right?
Yeah. No, about 8.
Okay.
8 or 7. Okay. I think we left off at the Equal Access Act. So that's an act that declares any public high school funded by the federal government must allow religious student groups to have meetings in the school on the same terms as other groups. Those states that help support schools argue that parochial schools have such a large amount of enrolled students so that the students can be educated at the public expense. They also argue that the Supreme Court has given legal help to the parents to be able to send their kids to parochial schools. And the court now applies 3 standards, which is the Lemon Test. Purpose of aid must be secular. Primary effect cannot advance or inhabit religion, and it must avoid an excessive entanglement of government with religion.
So would you two kind of just clarify for us what you mean by the Lemon Test as it applies to these parochial schools? Just in your own words, what exactly was the court trying to convey with that ruling?
Maybe the lemon test, I'm guessing because it's lemon sour and it's going to be hard to apply to these standards.
Well, Lemon was actually the name of the individuals, Lemon Kurtzman, so that was actually just a name. It wasn't like a moniker or anything like that. But the idea here with the Lemon Test was that how much, to what degree can the government provide funding, because they are educating the youth, but how can they provide funding for things like they would at a public school, like buses or help building certain buildings, without having that money go to biblical studies or catechism or anything like that? And I think that's where the Lemon Test comes in. So I'm asking you, what is the essence of the Lemon Test? What does it try and, separate?
The church and the school, like they don't want biblical classes in the school because it's separating church and government, and maybe they don't want to provide that in the schools.
So they want the money to go to things which are non-religious. What would you consider non-religious in a parochial school?
Their food?
Food.
Food, okay, what else?
Buses,
Textbooks?
textbooks,
Teachers.
computers nowadays,
Sports.
transportation, if they have any. The school itself providing the restrooms.
So you're saying that in order for them to get money, they have to pass the Lemon Test, which, is that what you're saying?
Right. It has to be Lemon Test approved to get, because why? That's taxpayer dollars. And see, if the government starts giving taxpayer dollars to a specific church or religion, what is it doing? It's, in essence, they're saying, establishing one religion above
The other.
the other religions.
So it's saying it must be secular. It can't advance to like other regions. Is that what?
Right. So Turlock Christian, what religion do they teach at Turlock Christian? Do you know?
Christianity.
Is it a specific Protestant denomination there? Is it Baptist?
Those are
Methodist,
$5 words.
Presbyterian?
I'm not even on my 80. I think it's
I'm not
just
sure.
regular Christianity.
Okay, let's put it this way. Is one of the schools you play in sports a Roman Catholic school where it's focused on Roman Catholicism instruction? Okay.
OLM.
Maybe OLM.
All them.
Okay, Our Lady of Mercy, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so how do they provide taxpayer dollars to help the students? Because their parents do pay taxes, right?
Yeah.
So you want some of that money to go for their education, but you got to make sure that it doesn't go towards giving OLM a leg up, so to speak, because they're getting taxpayer dollars. Because what was the thing that freaked the founding fathers out? In England, the Church of England got money from the government. So they were like cozy. The Church of England and the British monarchy, they were too close together. Same thing in France. The Catholic Church and the French monarchy were what? Too close together.
So we just don't want them to get too much power.
It's not that we don't, we want religion. In fact, we are based on a very religious group of founding fathers. They loved the Bible, okay? But the fact is they didn't want one church having priority over another church.
Other establishment cases. Public education are involved in most church-state controversies. Celebrations of the holiday season are sponsored by public groups. They do things like street decorations, school programs. When the court allowed the city of Mautucan, a question arose, what about a public display made up only of religious symbol? The court faced the question in the county of
Allegheny?
Yeah. And ASLU, and it was decided that it violated the First and 14th Amendment.
And as I mentioned to you guys yesterday, all this argument over these Christian displays like, you know, the nativity scenes and the Christmas trees and all that stuff, that never was even really an issue probably until the 1960s, 1970s. Before that time, it was, you know, everyone believed the Bible and, you know, anything that was Christian in nature, it was cool. It's now we're entering a new era here where, you know, what can you do and what can't you do? I mean, because people will sue, and most of the times people don't want to go to court, so they'll try and find a way to accommodate. In fact, some of the cities now they'll allow a nativity scene, but they'll allow other churches or other religions to put up their stuff. In fact, they even had, I think it was in Florida, there was a group of Satanists who put up their own Satan, you know, nativity something or other. So, and then the atheists put up some poster which basically said, you know, why people shouldn't be involved in religion. So, I don't know. It's a brave new world.
So Congress and state legislators began with a prayer. Chaplains that are paid with public funds offer the opening prayer. And there's a lot of chaplains in the Army too that go and pray before we go to battle. The Supreme Court ruled that this practice is constitutional. The court made a distinction between school and legislative prayers based on 2 points. First, prayers have been offered in the nation's legislative bodies from colonial times through the founding of the Republic and ever since.
In fact, if you guys ever have the chance to go to Washington, D.C. and you go into the Congressional Building, you'll see the rotunda there. There are major murals, and many of them are very religious in nature. I mean, when Columbus is landing, he's getting the blessing of the bishop, and, you know, I mean, just tons of references to biblical stories.
Second, legislators, not like school children, are not susceptible to religious indoctrination or peer pressure.
Meaning what?
Would that be like they know better or something?
Yeah, they're old enough to be able to
choose.
choose, yeah.
The public displays of the Ten Commandments have risen controversy in many places. In the case Van Orden versus Perry, the court decided that the Ten Commandments located in Texas did not violate the First and 14th Amendment. The court that settled the case McCreary County versus ACLU of Kentucky decided that the Ten Commandments in Kentucky was unacceptable.
You know what's so ironic about that? If you look at if you look on the Supreme Court building, on the top, you know, it's in the Roman architecture, and they have those little carved statues of scenes on the, you know what I'm talking about, on the buildings?
Yeah.
Guess what one of them is? It has Moses carrying down the Ten Commandments from Mount Sinai on the Supreme Court.
Well, that wrong.
Huh?
Please silence yourself.
The free exercise clause. The free exercise clause guarantees each person the right to believe whatever he or she chooses to believe in matters of religion. No law or action of the government can violate this constitutional right. it protected by the First and 14th Amendments. However, this constitutional right does not allow people to act and does not give anyone the right to violate criminal laws.
I mean, you can't say, I broke into Jesus' home because my religion tells me I need to take my neighbor's, beds or something like that. Can't use religion as a crutch to violate criminal law.
Or a way of protesting, like I broke into this because I was protesting this, but you're still breaking the law.
Absolutely, yeah.
The court approved some regulations of human conduct in the face of free exercise challenges. It has upheld laws that require the vaccination of school children. Any state can require religious groups to have permits to hold a parade in the middle of the streets. Many actions of the government contradict the free exercise clause. Because of the case of Cantwell versus Connecticut, the court struck down a law that requires a person to have a license before soliciting money for a religious cause.
Soliciting, that means trying to get actively talking to people and reaching out to them.
So every parade, the people have to get a permit in order
Absolutely.
to.
Yes, in fact, you're going to talk about this in section 4 with the assembly, right? Freedom to assemble? Yeah, they'll get more into that.
A state cannot any ministers to hold elected public officers. It can't deny unemployment compensation benefits to workers who quit their jobs. The Jehovah's Witnesses have carried the most important religious freedom cases to the Supreme Court. Gobitis lost to the Supreme Court, declared that the board's rule was an infringement of religious liberty. 3 years later, the Supreme Court changed that decision in the West Virginia Board of Education versus Barnett. And that's it.